I started last week, right? But
You can
sure.
start again.
So this week has been a lot of um bug fixes, and you remember the audio thing that I built, like the audio recorder thing? I was maybe lazily, but I was basically the TLDR is every time I wanted to save the progress of what's been recorded. The process was a little, less than ideal, let's say. I would basically read out all of the samples from I'll delete them, but before that, you need to read them out. So like, I would read out all of the samples from IndexedDB, delete them, and then update it. Um, and as the if you're recording like a super long meeting, it gets super slow. And so that made like tried recording a long meeting on my iPhone. Well, initially the UI was starting to get buggy, and so I just handed that off to a worker to have it run on a separate thread. But then the UI felt smooth, but the phone just got super hot, and so I just rewrote it properly to use like small chunks, and nothing's ever fully loaded into memory, and it just streams things depending on the index and all that. And all that is working now, so that's pretty nice. That was the main. That was like that took a long time to be
Oh,
fair.
what's this?
And then,
What's this?
well, the iPhone would heat up. So like this sort of like the a pager, in a way you could say.
Oh, I got it.
But yeah.
Okay.
Um, and here you have, and then I had a lot of bug fixes as well. That took up the majority of the week. Other than that, I made progress on OCaml, like actual progress. Because I'm reading the book, like the Real World OCaml, and I read a couple of chapters. And then I also, dude, Black Ops 7 is not that bad. I mean, I just play the multiplayer, to be fair. I'm not a fan of zombies. I don't play the campaign. I did not play the campaign. But multiplayer is just like good old COD,
So it
so
looks so bad. I'm
playing some Black
sorry.
Ops.
Like it looks really
Oh,
bad.
it's not that bad. Like the campaign looks bad, sure, but the multiplayer is just like your classic multiplayer.
I watched like a super cut of the
But yeah.
campaign, and it's insane what they did.
Oh,
Like I don't
yeah,
even know what they were
yeah.
doing.
It feels like a Microsoft campaign.
It does feel like
Microsoft build.
Microsoft, the entire thing does. It's like
Yeah, it feels like
optimized. It's
it
like
feels like
optimized toward normies. It's not a. I don't know.
yeah, it feels like they looked at the single player scene. Oh, people seem to love Elden Ring. What does Elden Ring have? Elden Ring has boss fights, so let's just add boss fights to COD. Like it feels like
You know what
there's
it
something like that
reminded me
was the thinking.
of like Destiny and stuff. That's what it seems to be like. Where it's like huge ass boss fights, but it's
Ha
gunplay.
Not every RPG
mm,
can be as good as COD 4 single player. So
true,
Have you played
so true.
Battlefield, the new one? 6? As
No, I
in,
have not. I've played like one game of the multiplayer, but I haven't tried the main game. I tried the it's not Warzone, but I tried the Warzone,
yeah, it's shit. I
the
think I haven't
Battle
even touched it.
Royale. Yeah, looked so my thinking was, if that's shit, then I wouldn't enjoy the real game. But if that's particular
That's,
shit, then I might just
yeah.
try out the real game.
Not the main game, I've not really played it too much. I played like 3 games, but it's great. I picked it up like
Mm.
2 weeks ago. Um, but this one, I don't know.
Mm,
Interesting. How long did you play for?
it's pretty fun. Like if you like COD,
Did you
it's
only
just
play for
COD. It's
like a
just more
few
COD.
rounds, or is it? Did you play for longer?
I just play when I get bored, so like I play a couple rounds, and it's just like very reliable, very predictable game.
Hmm,
And
interesting.
I played a good amount of I think I have 50 hours on it, I think, or 40 hours. It's a good amount.
That's a lot, right? When did it come
Yeah.
out? Didn't it come out like a few days ago?
Came out, bros, like, is that like I think it came out
Like a
a
week
little
ago,
over a
right?
week ago, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah, yeah.
BO7 release date. So what's the math on that? That is great. That's like 5 hours a day on average, but I played a lot on the weekends,
No,
I
it's
bored
guess.
fine.
quite a
I'm
lot.
just saying. I'm just saying. Like it's just a
Yeah,
lot.
I
Every time
got
I'm
you.
bored, I play 1 or 2 rounds.
That are long rounds.
And a lot of boredom.
Yeah. So
Uh,
who's next? Do you wanna hear me or is it Constantine? Do you wanna?
I can do next if you want to.
Uh,
Mm.
uh,
Yeah,
you only
sure.
have text stuff. You should put some lighthearted, fun stuff as well.
Yeah, but there was only everything of that, like everything there is fun. So especially the bottom right one.
Okay.
Okay, let's start with Gemini 3, obviously released this week. I found it kind of interesting because I had the feeling that in comparison with Codex, for longer tasks, it kind of fucks up more. So the quality for me degraded faster over time, but it was way less yappy, which I like. And also, it felt nice to have it as a study buddy, I'd say, because it was also less yappy. And I felt like it's more creative. Not creative, but I felt like I have to like it kind of gives you more ideas or like recommendations from where you can choose from, at least just vibe space. Obviously it's not out for that long, but for Codex I often have to like go into, okay, now that's not what I meant, think about that, and then like reprompt the idea quite a lot. And for Gemini it was, at least in my experience, gave me more options, and then I could just pick, and it was quite aligned to what I wanted to do.
And
So far it's been kind of good.
How do you, when you speak, because I don't really understand this, and I don't know if it's the same for SMA, but this planning idea, I've never done it. I don't think, like the
Okay.
asking
Yeah, same. Yeah.
asking for an
That's a
implement.
yeah, that's a
So
good
how does it
segue.
work
Like,
for you? So are you going
can you
in
click on
like,
the right one real quick?
uh-huh.
Just like I added the
Oh yeah, I
yeah, this one.
honestly, you sent me this tweet, right? But I was on public
Yeah.
transport. I was like, bro, this is too long. I'm not gonna like.
Yeah, we can just go over the planning part there
Okay, planning. Yeah, let's go.
because you asked. So basically, I try to do it in a way where it's kind of cringe, but like I call it mission control. So I mostly work with 4 terminal panes. One is mission control, the other 3 are agents. And the mission control is where I try to monitor my code base and always want to know what's going on. So that's why mission control, right? It's crucial to know what's going on in the other panes. And then in the planning step, I try to flesh out the idea as well as possible, iteratively, and use either CLI, Codex, or often just the web browser and code to prompt. So I just put all the context in there. That's where I come up with either like put the context of an issue I'm working on, or like brainstorm the idea basically. And I do that quite a long time till I see in code snippets. I'm always say, don't give me the full implementation, just ideas, until I see what I want to see and I have like a roadmap laid out. And then I use the horribly cringe word of orthogonal features. I always say like divide that into 3 orthogonal features I can implement in parallel, and then I hand off these orthogonal features to my 3 agents, and then I let them run. And all I do all the time is like I think if we go into tooling later on, we will also talk about that. But I use a lot of CLI and terminal tools. So basically, all I do there is JJ and I just read through the diff. I just read through it, and then if something goes wrong, because they're all orthogonal features, most of the times they shouldn't be touching each other. So if something goes wrong for one agent, I just revert those changes, start the implementation again, and go back to mission control. And then obviously after each implementation step, you refine your planning. Sometimes you feel like, okay, the agent went off in those regards. How can I prompt it next time so that won't happen? And sometimes I even switch agents. For example, today I was working on my Rust library, and Kimi wasn't doing the job anymore, so I replaced the agent for this one workflow with Codex. And you can kind of dynamically scale the compute, or like the intelligence and the cost for your separate agents depending on the task. And I always try to run it with a stupid model first, and if it doesn't work, I go to the next smarter one. And that's where planning is really important.
You know what plan? I get the other thing where you just spit. Also, I don't really get it, to be honest, because I also don't use that. Yeah, for me this is super. Like, I'm just gonna be completely honest. For me, I could not work like this. So how it works for me is planning. I don't do it usually because I think this is like, isn't this the only step that where humans should be in charge? Because I can get behind if coding models are good enough for models to write the code. Implementation, you test it.
You're
You
still
read
right.
through it, and yeah, we can go about this. We can talk about this later, right? But for the planning step, isn't it like, because all of these AIs, they are way too agreeable, right? And they come up with bullshit, and you ask it about it, and it's like, yeah, that's actually a good point, but
I never do like, how do I implement this? I say,
what
this
do
is
you
what I want to
plan
do.
it?
Those are the steps.
Okay.
Hmm?
So it just gives you like 4 options, right? And then you pick the one, is what you're saying.
Exactly. I always ask back, and then often I do the planning even with like different ones.
So
So
you
I
like kind of
do
like
the planning step.
you're doing this mind storming thing, right? Where it's like,
Yeah. The way I put it there, like in this post, is that I want to have the most intelligence during the planning step. And the intelligence is both me and the most capable model I can get. So I think through it, I let it, like, I think through it and I write the first draft. Then I let a model go over it, and I then take the result, put it into a different model, for example, Codex, and say, critique this as harshly as you can while I read through it. So I try to do as much in parallel as I can. Then I use that feedback and I use my feedback to come up with the next version of the plan, with the next version of the plan. And when I read through it, go through the code and I check and it looks good to me, then I say, divide this into 3 orthogonal implementation plans. I only use 3 because I can't properly review more code if it's more than 3 agents. It's just, I can't do it. Maybe I'm
I
just
don't even
too
know how
stupid,
you
but
do it
I can
for
handle,
3, to be
yeah,
honest. Like
I
I
can
could
handle
do it
3, but I
for
can't handle
1
more.
max, and that's even hard. I do it.
I don't think so, because your code, your task kind of changes to not writing the code, but just reading a lot of code.
That's what I'm doing,
Um,
but I feel like I'm missing. Like I tried it once, because I wanted to try out the work trees, right? And I just don't feel like I'm trying to.
Work trees add too much friction for me, I think, because then there's too much layers in between. But if you just, it's not that much work,
So
but
that's
like then
what
you
you're talking
also have
about for the
to handle work trees.
orthogonality, right? Where
Yeah,
you
exactly.
okay, so you're in the same
You
work
kind of get
tree.
work trees for
Okay.
free. Like we have work trees at home because features don't touch each other.
I don't know if this would work for the stuff I'm building though, to be honest. Like it would be hard to
You
even do anything orthogonally, right? Where it's like I can't even think of anything, to be honest.
I mean,
how
implementing the
often do
package, for example,
you
on the front end.
how much time do you spend on like having the three orthogonal features work together, like plugging them in? Is it usually like, do you do that by
Most of the
hand, or do you need like one agent to do that towards the end?
most of the times I try to write or come up with at least some of the tests while the agents are going through it, or sometimes even before. So the plugging in is then tested. For example, one perfect use case there was today I was working on like writing tests for my lib. And then obviously I want to test the tool calling loop. I want to test schema serialization, deserialization, and I want to, for example, mock the API endpoint and test how like dealing with different HTTP error codes work. Like you can write that in parallel. There's no reason not to. It's 2 units tests and 1 integration test, and I can just
Mm.
let the agents write that in
But
parallel and
then,
then read through it.
like, okay, I guess that would be one task. Because in my mind, when I think of like one task that can be broken down to three orthogonal steps, steps, I would imagine that they work together, that the orthogonal steps sort of work together to serve like a common feature.
Can
And
also be the
so,
case. Then it's harder,
But
but
it's
then
harder, right? Because orthogonal
yeah.
means they don't touch each other. So when you said
exactly.
orthogonal, how I imagined it, for
Mm.
example, would be, let's take poker, for example, right? Our social media thing, where
Right.
I'm working on the page editor, and then totally orthogonal to that would be what you're working on, right? Which is the
Yeah, the
fetching
notifications.
YouTubes, right? Or yeah, fetching YouTube video,
Yeah,
or doing the push notification, or setting up PWA, right?
right.
So they don't touch each other at
Yeah.
all. You have 2 agents running in the same code base. It would probably work. Um, but then
So what orthogonal means for me there is basically what I don't want to happen is that 2 different agents touch the same file. And obviously it would be smarter or better to do that with Git work trees. But personally, that's maybe me being lazy. But I just realized that when I'm using Git work trees, I usually just stick to 1 agent because I'm too lazy to like switch back and forth all the time. So what I try to do is to get them to write on the same code base, different files, and then merge it
to
myself.
be honest, because now we're going back to implement, or like not even implementation, but like to actual, yeah, I guess it's implementation. For me, this planning step is just the weirdest part about this, because what I would do is this: I would just ask someone, like I would rather talk to a human than to have AI plan with me. You get me? Like if I feel unsure about a solution, or like what I maybe this is like super old school or retarded, I don't know, but I would rather have, so I would get a second opinion from someone technical, right?
I wouldn't do that for like super complex things, but for example, if
But
you
then for
like,
easy things, why would you even do a planning step? Like you probably come up with, yeah, maybe I don't know.
because like if, for example, I kind of see that like there's multiple ways. For example, you could implement what I did with like an HTTP config you can pass to your client in a library. And there are multiple ways how you would be able to enable the user to pass, for example, timeout, max retries, and that stuff to the client that's actually used for the request. And there, it works kind of fine because then first one in the one in the one module you can have it write the struct that's actually passed and the implementations and all the trade implementations, stuff like that. And the other one you can update the builder that's used to instantiate your basically the LLM tool call or the LLM call. And in the next one, you can write the tests already. And because everything comes from the same planning thing, they're just executing. And
Yeah.
then most of the times it fits together all right already. And sometimes the tests fail or the code doesn't compile. And then you just iterate till that works.
Would you say that the planning step is more so for the LLM or more so for you?
Both, I'd say.
Because it could also be seen as you're just doing the planning step, so it has more context, right?
Yeah, and also so I can hand it like workflow wise, it's kind of nice because then you just have like 3 separate tasks you can just copy paste into your agents. And I don't have to go in there and write it all the time. I do it once properly, line out the whole thing I want to do, then I segment it or put it into different slots, and then I let it rip.
You know what's interesting? This is exactly what AI does when you're fully vibe coding, right? Because I've seen chat. Look, do you remember when we talked to Chaz? All of these like to do MD files. That's exactly what it does, right? It splits it up into steps, maybe even different implementation if it doesn't work, and then it just obviously it burns an insane amount of tokens, but it just goes through all of them, right?
And the difference there is, I think, the mission
I mean,
control
you're a
part.
human in the loop,
Because,
right? So you're in the loop,
yeah,
so it's better, obviously, right? I'm not saying it's like the same thing, but I think it's to me, and maybe again, right? Maybe my tasks just don't benefit from planning as much. Could be, right?
mhm.
But then, so
What's
I'm
also
thinking
like
about
important, like, is the scaffolding thing there. I'm not sure, maybe that would work for you better. Because what I sometimes
scaffolding.
do is that it's optional, but what I sometimes do that if I in planning and I
Oh
from
yeah, I do that
experience
all
or
the time. So for example,
yeah,
I type
you
out
just
the TRPC function, right? I type out the types I want to
yeah,
have, and then it's like, and then I point to the schema. Like I set up,
yep.
I would never do like, I would never have AI implement a schema for a table, right? That's
But that
insane.
kind of comes from that kind of I think it's kind of comes from the planning step because I do scaffolding only when I get the idea that during the planning that's a point of friction where the AI has problems to understand what I want it to do. So I wouldn't scaffold it if during planning everything is fine and looks like how I want it. But if
In
I, for example, have to reprompt and say, okay, I don't want that, I don't want that, I don't want that, instead of doing that, I just add scaffold for this explicit part and nothing else.
I think it might go back to now that you're explaining it like this because I'm obviously also planning, right? But I'm doing it myself. But I'm still in this AI workflow where I work on one file only. I don't I don't like to give it implement this feature, do whatever you want. I always That's why I don't like the CLIs because they always do it.
But that's why it's not do whatever you want. Exact like planning gets rid of do whatever you want because then it's not do whatever you want with one like natural language prompt, but it's here is what you should exactly do. And I reviewed that in like beforehand and now go and do exactly that. And like even the most dumb models by now can just implement it what you told them to.
Yeah, sure, but you get what I mean, right? It's for me the planning step seems like honestly even a risk because it might be like it might influence me into doing the wrong thing if I feel like maybe I don't know because so one time I can actually remember where I tried something along the lines of planning was when I implemented file uploads for poker. um, and file uploads are kind of curious there because I wanted to have optimistic updates. So it's like a combination of no loading state, and so but I still wanted it to upload so they can go, so they can have like they can just leave the page and the image is still there, right? So it uploads. So basically, you drop the image onto the page. It uses the local asset first. In the background, it uploads to the draft folder, and then later on publish, I move it to the published folder, and then it's like, and then this can never get wiped. It's kind of hard to explain, but there's like a certain, there would be many different ways of how to do this, and I thought about like doing a planning step, right, where it's like, okay, what different options do we have? How will this be implemented? And honestly, like, all the options AI gave me were like complete dog shit. It's like, and this was GPT-5, right? Maybe it was like a bad prompt, could be, but the thing is, for me, I would rather, if I feel like I'm not sure about something, I would rather I would actually look it up old school, and then
But I think the problem there is that you assume you're not sure about something. During planning, you can be very sure about what you want to see. And that's exactly what I do in planning. It's not, oh, I don't know what I want to do here. Please help me, AI. It's, I want this, put it into an implementation detail that I can hand off to the agents. It's not
so
what
Yeah,
am I
like,
doing here.
okay,
It's
then
Phil,
we are
would
doing this.
you?
then I completely missed, because I thought planning, when I'm hearing planning, right? You remember the tweet this other guy on X made? I sent it to you. Our mutual, the what's his name, German guy also. And he was like, "Oh, I'm talking to like GPT-5, and it's amazing for planning tasks." And he had like example questions of like, I don't know, how should I implement this? How should I do that? I think that's, if that's not planning for you, then I kind of get it, but then I don't like.
Wait,
So
Phil, do you write code before you're sure, before you have a complete plan? Like, for example, with file upload,
no.
did you know exactly? So you don't
I mean,
so you
it
have a complete
depends, right?
plan.
For example, if I'm just doing a CRUD thing, right? So for example, I'm fetching.
Oh, for the file upload.
For the file upload, I did plan it out before in my head, because I don't like it. I don't know if you agree, but I don't think it makes much sense to like go in, like when you're dealing with uploads, right? It's annoying as fuck anyway. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't go in
you need a
without a
complete
concrete
plan. Yeah,
plan, right? So I
You
sketched,
think
like
so?
for
yeah.
file uploads, I even sketched it out beforehand how it should work, like a tiny
I'm
flowchart,
kind
right?
of, that's one point where I'm kind of primogen pilled. In my mind, you have to rewrite it once or twice anyways. So I go in there and try
True.
No,
to
I
you can
completely.
rewrite it later because
get
you
info
realize
first and then just,
that your first idea was ass, but I think you should have the first idea on. And maybe this could also just be me being slow, because I can't really, like, for me, I I'd rather take a step back, and I think you're also doing that, right, SMR? We've seen it when we're pair coding. It's like better to just take
Yeah.
like 5 to 10 minutes before. I know that people can do this where they're like typing, and they're like multitasking, right? In the like they're typing something, and in the meantime they are thinking, okay, I need to do this and that. I think for more overarching features, because file upload on Poker is like a main thing, right? So I wanted to have one hook that does all the file uploads for videos, for and for like, it even has like integrations with like background removal, stuff like that. It's like one, it should be one piece that just works. So I kind of sketched it out before. And now I
Well,
thought,
I
when
will
you're
say
saying
though.
planning, I thought, Constantine, what you mean is that you go in with nothing, or you at this, like, you don't take the 5 to 10 minutes to think about it for yourself. You just go in and prompt AI to like, okay, what are options? Like, what could we do to implement this feature? If that's not planning, then I can see this, right? If you have a concrete step, you're like, okay, I want to implement this. Give me a plan of how this should be implemented. Then it's completely different. But then I'm
often it's not
misunderstood.
even this. Often I'm not even saying, give me a plan of how this should be implemented. So basically what I do is this, what I want to achieve. Here's the context of the library, and sometimes I even write parts of the code in the plan already. So
Okay,
this is
yeah,
the file
then
where this probably lives. This is what I kind of want to see. I want these three structs here. They need these two, whatever, these two fields.
That's the
One of them
scaffolding,
should be
right?
an in for the
that's
next one.
exactly what I wanted to say, Constantine, because that's what I understood as scaffolding. So basically,
Yeah,
you're
I'm not doing
saying,
like scaffolding. For me is what I do in the code, and sometimes even in planning, just
Ah,
in
okay, okay.
Gemini, I just write code. But I
Yeah,
write
yeah,
it
I get
kind of
you.
shitty way. I just like
okay,
write a
this was
function name
interesting.
and parameters or something.
This is super interesting because
Scaffolding,
then
I can is amazing, by the way.
I fundamentally misunderstood what you meant by planning, and maybe even other people, because I thought planning
But
meant, yo, AI, I don't want to think. Tell me how I can do this, and then I pick one option, or maybe even I let AI pick it, right? Because I'm completely just handing it off to AI, and I think this is, again, I think it's vibe coder shit, right? Where, like, if I'm not even making architectural decisions, like, why am I even needed? You can just replace me completely by a web coder, and that's what I thought planning meant. But if it's not that, then it's completely different. But then I don't really see. So scaffolding, you're saying it's in code, and then planning can also include code, but it's in just prompts, right? Okay, so that's super interesting. And you
for example, if I already have something figured out where, for example, I wrote something before, or I know how I want to do it, or I know how the functions are. For example, for dependency injection, I often do, this is the function, takes this, and this is what it takes, make it work. But you already know
Yeah,
what
scaffolding
you're
is
injecting.
brilliant.
Yeah,
Scaffolding is
you
one
need
like
to do it, right?
amazing.
That's the I think scaffolding, even for people who don't like AI writing code, I think this is honestly just a skill issue if you don't do it, right? Like you should, I think,
Yeah.
I mean, I know you don't do it as SMR, but I think when it comes to speed, you cannot tell me that it's faster to type it out by hand. You cannot tell me that. Like it's always,
Yeah, no,
for
it's
example,
way better.
TRPC CRUD operation, right? You have like, I don't know, and even better if the router file already has context, right, for a bunch of other functions. So for example,
Yeah.
getting live, so poker.get live page, right, which gets you the live page. So this needs to be implemented, right? But then if the router already contains get editor page, it's going to one-shot it 100% of the time, right? You just give it the types. Maybe you tell it the tiny thing that's different between the two functions, and then it's just going to one-shot it 100% of the time, I feel like. So I think scaffolding is like the big thing. For the planning, yeah, now I understand it. Obviously, planning as a precursor of scaffolding kind of makes sense. I would probably do it both, like in one step. So I would start with typing out. So I would start with scaffolding and then I would start prompting it.
But I think that's a huge difference because that's the cursor cell talking out of you. Because like doing it in one step, if you're doing it in the like editor anyways, but if I do it in web browser or a different terminal,
that's true.
You kind of don't do it in one
step. It's
step.
insane. It's stupid, right? Because then you need to context switch. So I get that. That's obviously, and I think that's the main benefit of cursor. Honestly, also I just like to see the updates live. To be honest, like it shouldn't be too slow, obviously, because I don't want to wait around. But I do like updates being streamed in right into my editor and me just seeing them. You know.
I think that's kind of just gamification because, like, if not,
I don't think so,
not the full thing is.
Because if you have a huge diff, right, and you're viewing it, and it's way harder to force yourself to read all of it. If it's streamed in at a nice, decent speed, you can follow along. I can maybe even interrupt it, right, if it's completely off. That
Maybe. Yeah.
But again, I think it depends on the scope, how much
during
you're
it,
editing, right?
Yeah.
If you're doing multi-file or something, obviously then it's retarded. Like, why should I? If I was doing multi-file edits or something like, or even different features, I would also be using CLI. There's no reason to use cursor, right? Makes no sense. But I'm not doing that. So yeah, but this was interesting. Honestly, I completely misunderstood. If I had read it, I would have completely misunderstood your tweet. Because for me, planning, I associate it with, I don't know what's going on. I need AI.
That's kind of weird. It's an interesting take, but for me, it's always like, for example, if you're planning a trip, you also know what you want to do, right?
No, not exactly, right? Because I guess, yeah, but you're planning, right? You don't let AI plan your trip.
Exactly.
If
Yeah.
AI
But
plans
that's like,
your trip, then it's like,
yeah,
that's exactly what I thought
read
of,
read the first paragraph.
First paragraph?
In planning, the first
Yeah, I just read
it.
Yeah, but I think if I had read it myself without your commentary, I would have misunderstood it still. Because for me, planning, because you've seen the tweet, right? The tweets are, but like, okay, cursor planning mode. It's also like for vibe coders. I think this term is just tainted in terms of
Yeah,
AI
that's
planning means you hand off your brain, right? You just
yeah, you just say
you
please
just
do that, and then
yeah.
yeah.
So that's why I kind of misunderstood. But if this is basically like a just a pre-step to the scaffolding, I totally get it. More so, like obviously if you're doing CLI, it makes sense to do that. Yeah, I think that's should we continue? I mean, this is super interesting. We could probably talk about this for ages, right? But
Yeah, but
Yeah.
other than that, it's kind of more like tooling. I think we can
we
always
can
just
talk
like
about
also
it.
just hit it later because
Yeah,
like we're going to talk about
exactly.
tooling
Let's
anyways.
Yeah, yeah,
let's
we'll
go
touch on it later.
Okay, so this I assume is also going to come up later, right? Or do you want to talk about it? Because
Not really.
I
It's
saw
kind
the
of
tweet.
unrelated. I
Like
make it quick.
what do you mean, an actual
I make it quick.
scratchpad in
Yeah,
IRL
an
or
actual. No, I dislike chat interfaces kind of, and I thought like, what would be the perfect like UX for AI for me, and it would be literally just a window with three hotkeys. One would be reload the whole thing. So basically, you would write anything, you would reload, and it would take what's there as context and rewrite the whole thing. And the second thing would be select a line and rewrite it. And the third thing would be select a part and make a new file out of that. And I think if you add a history to that, so you can basically switch to the whole chat dialogue, if you want to say, on demand, but have a scratchpad by default. For me personally, I think it would be the best AI experience because you always like when working with AI, you're doing it repetitively anyways. So I just not only show the current state.
I don't know. I kind of see the vision, I guess, because this would open you up to also have different versions being generated next to each other, right? Maybe is that what you're going, or is that not really?
I kind of just wanted. I was thinking I maybe just also like write a app for myself doing that. Literally just like write something, refresh, and you get a not new thing. Write something, refresh, you get a new thing.
But what? Okay, refresh means an actual browser refresh, or what do you mean?
No, refresh would be you just do command. I was thinking of a desktop app. You just do command R. It takes what's there in the scratchpad as context and rewrites it depending on that. So you would basically write a shopping list, and underneath you would say convert that to a message to my boss, whatever. Then you just do command R, and then you have the message.
But isn't the and I'm kind
So
of maybe
is this
I'm
like
yeah, go ahead.
tldraw.computer? Have
I,
you seen that? Do you know what that is? It's like it's basically like TLDraw, but like it has AI inside of it, so like you can make it's almost like an N8N type thing,
oh yeah.
but it's much more sort of like
No, I'd say
free
it's way
flowing.
easier. Literally,
Is
just
it
I was
text-based
thinking that
only?
like just yeah, it would just be
No,
text.
no, it can.
No.
Oh,
I
okay,
mean
no, but TLDraw isn't. But
possibilities.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be just be text. It would literally be. I was thinking of Apple Notes where you can refresh, change sections, and create new notes. Because that would be incredible. Because like if you have a section you want to keep, you just select it, create a new note from it, and if you want to refresh the whole thing, you do Command R. And if you just want to change a section, you would basically do cursors Command K. So selected Command K and new prompt. And I think that would be a better UI than the chat.
But
Maybe that's
it's
Yeah,
just me.
kind
I
of
do.
like it's kind of like a chat box, right? So you only basically you just remove the history, right?
Yeah, the history is because I think the history is low in most cases. In most cases, you only care about the most recent thing.
I
And if
had
you
this.
don't,
Yeah.
if you care about something else, you can create a new node from it. You don't need.
Remember
Yeah,
our
that is
talk
a
we had
yeah, Phil.
on our chat app thing? Where I said the exact same thing, where
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
history is fucking
yeah,
retarded
yeah,
when you
yeah,
ever look
yeah,
at it. Um,
yeah. True.
yeah,
That was crazy.
that was foreshadowing. Like Constantine and I are aligned on that. But I didn't see it as so what I meant actually when it comes to history. I think nobody cares about last chats. Like nobody gives a shit about them.
Yep,
So
that's
you can
also true.
hide those away, right? It doesn't need to look like fucking WhatsApp. Like for WhatsApp, this is my dad, right? Like this is my dad, and down here is like my mom, right? So
Yeah,
obviously I care about that. But for AI, it's all your
yeah,
bullshit conversations, right?
yeah.
So okay,
That's a
so I think
billion.
that's a scratch, but I don't. You should build like a prototype. I don't know if I see the vision for this. Because to me, it seems like right now, it seems like it's just, instead of having like chat, right, where it's like message, 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 you just, so this would be chat, right? And then here you have like input, right?
Yep.
Instead, what you want to have is basically just this, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
And
exactly.
then it's
Exactly.
like enter,
But
right?
you only the point is you only see what you need right now, and if you want to store something, you want to store it somewhere else anyways, and then you could just create a node from that, a separate one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is easily doable, right? If you just don't
Yeah.
care about this.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because one thing, and I talked about this in the past. One thing I like about Cursor, and is one of the main reasons I use it, is go back, like revert, right?
Oh, you could do that. I would definitely add a history to it. But I think the idea is I want to make the default case nice, and the additional features should have more friction. So if I want to go back or revert or whatever, that should be more friction than the normal use case of me just prompting until I have something I like.
It's like an UX. It's just a UX thing, right? In this case, because basically you could hide this away, and as you
Exactly. Yeah,
scroll
I do
up,
that. I do
as
that.
you scroll up,
Yep.
you can just show them, right? For example.
For example, yeah.
Yeah, this is not bad. I also like the way, now that I think about it, I also like how your prompt is gone, right? So there is no prompt even. Like it's
Yep.
yeah, that's
It's just your
interesting.
content.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. That's also maybe something SMR for ChatUp, because the thing with ChatUp
Yeah.
is we kind I don't know if you agree, SMR. Maybe you just want to make it nice, like a clone basically. But I think there's like a lot of UX things where I don't think all the chat apps need to look like chats. There's no reason to. I don't think this is the solution.
Yeah.
I don't think tier like this. I think this is going overboard. But there's no reason why ChatGPT should look like WhatsApp UI. Makes no sense in my mind. It's stupid.
Yeah, I agree. I have been thinking that like a chat app or a chat GPT app, um, it needs to be more like the initial. This is a very unfinished idea, but the initial idea I had was like integrating almost like notes in some way. Like what I was thinking was, um, like if this is your, oh, where's my rectangle? There we go. If this is like your desktop and this is your, this is example.com, this is your chat.com, and like right now the sort of the main thing is like you have a chat inbox here and an inbox here, right? Like here, depending on the app. And I was thinking like this should be more of like, and this is an unfinished idea, so like you can't stop critiquing it, but this should be more of like almost like a almost the experience that Apple wants you to have with their desktops, where like you have your sticky notes or whatever, you have like a clock, you have your desktop files. And so like I was thinking like, maybe if we could have widgets or we could have notes or sticky notes or whatever, and the input even can be like dragged here, and you can have like your recent notes here, and you can have like a reminder or whatever. And maybe this is me um going overboard, of course, but I was thinking that like a generic chat experience is not enough. It's not only not enough, it's missing. It's not just that it's not going far enough. The direction is like wrong. It's missing something. It feels very lackluster. It feels very whatever, unsatiating, whatever the opposite of that word is.
Have
So
you
yeah.
used a widget on your desktop?
It reminds me of this.
Have I ever
So
Used
Well,
a
I'm like an
widget?
i3. I'm like an i3 user. Like I don't
Yeah.
use i3 on a Mac, but
what is
I
this?
use it like i3, so I don't. But if I
Okay.
wasn't an i3 user, I'd probably use that, yeah.
I don't think. I think this reminds me too much of my mind. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with
Uh
this. We talked about it briefly. I think all of us were, because I wanted to build this My Mind clone thing before I knew My Mind existed. So My Mind is this second brain type thing, right? And then I think they also have a chat where you can drop all of your garbage, right? And you can have your conversations, you can have your images in this thing, and then you can stop chatting with AI, and it also has context of all the stuff that you put in. I don't know if a chat app should be able to do this, and I don't know if people would care. Like now you're not a chatbot, right? You're a virtual brain again, kind of.
But I think it should be like it should be as it should purely be a secondary effect. And so, like for example, with the reminder, we shouldn't have a feature where like you can add a reminder or this, that, or the other. But like, imagine if you mentioned that you have a presentation on Monday 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. and then you log into the chat app at 12, and the intro message, instead of saying hi, hi Phil, it says, hey Phil, how did the presentation go?
So
Like I
basically
feel like people
memories.
would
Well,
love.
that's virtual.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
it's
exact. That's what you're building. Yeah, I mean, even more so than my mind and all the others, right?
true, true, but it you can't rely on it. Unreliability is not a feature, of course, but like there's no UI for like adding a reminder, so you don't think of it as a virtual. You don't think of it as a virtual brain. You're thinking about it truly as like a friend, not to be weird, like a friend or an agent or whatever, like truly as an entity that sort of responds to you. You know what I mean? Instead of like just a chat app.
So you would go
And I
like,
think like you're trying to get people to anthropomorphize your tool.
But isn't this just memories? Trying
It
to
is the
add,
implementation is
right?
just memories, yeah, 100%. The implementation is just memories,
I mean, you're
but
talking
the
mostly UX,
experience is
right?
much
It's
more.
This is a UX topic now, right?
Yeah, the
Because you
experience.
could
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
literally have what you
yeah,
just said. It could also be again fucking chat UI, right? Like you can have the reminder, and I don't know, maybe the reminder is like a fucking banner on top, right? It could be boring as fuck, but you don't want it to
yeah,
be boring as fuck. So you basically what you're saying is like
yeah,
I'm using this for the first time, right? So I'm like, um, yo, help me with the presentation, right? On Monday, right? And then it's like, okay, I can help you with your presentation, blah blah blah, right? And then after this conversation ends, a reminder thing pops up, right? It's just there, like, and it says like presentation prep, right? Like prep your
yeah.
presentation till Monday, don't forget, right? Um, but the thing
Or
is,
more like, yeah, you have a presentation in half an hour, by the way, or something like that. But yeah, yeah.
I wonder if it's like just. Mm, I still think this entire idea of putting stuff in some place and have AI remember makes a lot of sense. Like all the startups, I think they exist for a reason. Also, all the meeting recorders, all the, um, but I don't know if, yeah, you can maybe lock in and get lucky, and this could work out great. But I think for this seems super bloaty. I think what I would do in your case, I would ship the chat experience first, and then these widget type things, right? They can come later, I think, right? Or do you think
Yeah,
this is
of
central
course.
to
Yeah,
the
I wouldn't say
experience?
no, no. I would say the central to the experience is just something that is fast
Are
and
these like
works.
generative UI or are these pre-made?
The UI would not be generative. The content would be.
Mm-hmm.
So the text content or whatever the parameters are
So we
for the
would build like
components would be
50
generative.
components for all
What
kinds of
is
stuff.
this app called again, where you can basically use AI in your chat messages, like just normal messages?
It's called generative UI, right?
No, no, no.
It-
Where you have like basically iMessages, but with AI, and they also remind you of stuff, and you can
Oh,
ask
it's the
stuff, and
Poke thing, right? I checked it out
it's something like
yesterday.
okay, yeah, yeah. And there are also others.
It's this one, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
This is
don't
true. Like this is actually.
I don't like this at all,
I
to be
mean,
honest.
so
No,
here
but
they
me
tried to
neither.
go
But I think
social,
that's kind
which
of the vibe,
Do you think so? I
like
don't think
the.
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
at
They
all
tried to
the
go
same.
social with this. No, well, so here they tried to go social with it, like it's texting their friends, telling them, it's basically a member, it's an
But I
entity in
think
the
it's also
gossip circle,
reminding,
and
right?
they. It is
I'm
also
pretty sure you
reminding.
can
Yes, I
also use
wouldn't
it
go
to
this
remind.
strong. I wouldn't. this is too. I think this is too far into the I'm one of your friends. I'm in your friend circle thing. Like it goes
Also,
too far in my opinion.
it's completely the opposite direction, right? Poker, because the entire thing is poker kind of listens in, right, on what you're doing, or not? Am I wrong? I don't know, but I thought it was like
Oh,
it just knows and then it reminds you like proactively, right? Is this not the sales pitch? Maybe I'm
oh,
wrong.
it's like reading your like Google Calendar and all this probably.
Yeah, that's what I thought, right? So it's like your
Mm,
father is
probably. I
half
haven't
French, right? It's like
I haven't
it just
tested it out.
knows, right? And then I've also not tested
Yeah,
it, so
yeah,
but I've this is completely different, right? Because this is proactive, and then you just I
yeah.
think
For
it's
me, it's not pro.
yeah.
It's not pro. It just makes it feel like home in a sense, like that. The Pleasant page.
I don't know. To me, I'm gonna be completely. And I'm a big bloater myself. I like to add all kinds of features, but to me, this seems mm, it seems like headaches. I don't know. Like, and I
Gotcha.
don't know if the payoff. It's like obviously it's nice, right? And it fits
Like
the
maybe from like
name.
I'm hearing about it the first time, just from outside perspective. I was kind of super sold on what I've heard about what you're building on, like a super performant chat experience that just works. And for me, if I hear that, I would just be okay. Fuck, that sounded like a nice thing. Now I'm out. Because I think also
Gotcha.
the target group is kind of different because the people that want to be reminded of
But you're
and treated
focusing
like
too
a
much
friend
on the
or
reminders, right? I think as much as put it as an example.
not a memory thing. I think, for example, like people that want to have like good performance and actually care about that. I think Phil, we talked about it multiple times before that performance for normies often is bad because they're not used to it. So people that want a super performant and stable app are probably the ones that are more conscious about that. And I always find it kind of creepy if AI reminds me of something or knows me. I don't want the token printer to know me. Just put the tokens in the backlog, bro.
I do. So I'm also hearing it for the first time, by the way, Constantine. Just FYI,
Okay.
SMR just revealed this. I for me,
Dude.
what when we talked about Pleasant together, SMR, I thought we would innovate UX wise, but when it comes to
Yeah,
UX, I was thinking more so stuff like this, right? Like this actually is very much aligned with what SMR and I had planned initially, right? Where it's like we want to we want to cut stuff, right? Like this, there should not be history like in fucking WhatsApp. We don't need this. We can use this space differently, right? Um, and also, I shouldn't need to go into like on here. There's like model select, right, or like settings tab. I should like we have all this space. Why hide it away, right? And then obviously SMI is doing the performance where it's like super fast as well. But yeah, I don't know. I think this feels to me like a different app, to be honest. I think it's totally valid. I think it's interesting. Um, but I don't know if it's like a. I think if this happens, right, where it's like a second brain type thing, um, I think it's not a chat experience first and foremost at this point. Like it should probably,
true,
right?
true.
Because then I think people
Yeah,
would
it's not a
expect
chat
dropping
experience.
images, right? And then they would expect like I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah, yeah.
invite people to their space. Like and then it's like a completely different thing, right?
Yeah, there. Well, the invitation, I would draw the line there, but yeah, I would expect like
I was just spitballing here.
multimedia or yeah. I get you. So yeah, it stops becoming the chat experience, and then it does. That is interesting
And also
because
memories, right?
the
For
the
me,
thing
yeah, go ahead.
the thing that kicked this off was like the logo that you had for the chat or the Pleasant chat, which was like that smiley face, and then it was like okay, like that's like a person, and then like what would well, it's like there's like a pleasant little friend that you have, and this that, and then that was what opened it. Because like if you're going for like just a pleasant chat experience, then yeah, I think what we had initially is more so down more so aligns with what we were thinking of initially. And what Luke said, or Luke, but Cal, of course. But what he said about people who care about performance don't really care about a second brain feature or like these little tricks. That there's also probably a lot of truth in that too.
Yeah, I think
Well,
it's
yeah,
as
if
it's
that's the
as
case,
Constantine said, right? It's like two completely different user groups, I guess.
yeah,
Where
yeah,
one cares
it's
about
like the
as
normie group versus.
friend, second brain, and one cares about. And here's the thing, right? For me, I hate memory because I don't want to like. I want to use AI chat as like
Mhm.
Google query, right? So I want to send it
Yeah.
off, and it should give me like a predictable result based on none of my previous input, unless obviously we can have it opt in, right? But I don't. I think memory should be opt in and not opt out. Personally, maybe this. I don't know if you guys agree, but I think
No, I
it's
get you. I get you.
like because I recently saw a tweet and
I think memories are I like it deeply an OPSEC hazard because like you can literally with all the like even LLM psychosis and that stuff, I don't want it to like resurface things I talked about in the past. I think that makes like it way worse. It makes it way more agreeable. And I think it just degrades both the
it,
performance and the experience.
it only helps weird people is how I feel about it. Like it helps the parasocial people who treat AI
Yeah.
as a friend. This is great for them, right? But then if you think about it, would you ever care about so let's say yesterday I talked to AI about Lisa, right? Which is a completely different project on a completely different stack. And then today I talk about AI, I talk to AI about poker, which again is completely different. And we have file uploads on both. I never wanted to confuse those, right? Like this should never happen. So I think memories are a bad thing for most users, except except like, for weird people, right?
Memories are gonna
Yeah,
take.
complete normies.
Yeah. And even then, right?
Cool.
Even for the normies, if they're not like gooners or something, I think even for them it's weird, right? Because there's people who are privacy conscious and they might be like, yo, what the fuck? Like, uh, like if it just surfaces something, or maybe you are account sharing and it just surfaces some garbage, or I don't know. I think it's just, I don't think it's great. Um, unless this is the specific purpose of the product, right? If you want your second brain, then you should obviously have memories and like resurfing this stuff. But yeah.
Mm.
So how did we even get to it's Scratchpad, right? Bro, we are
Yeah,
insanely
exactly.
slow today.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll wrap the last one.
We are like
Like I do
two
that super quick.
step three
I
of your week.
Yeah, I do that super quick. So just I released V01 of my Rust library, and it should be more. It's obviously not production ready, and it's like obviously not there, but at least I have more tests, and I have tracing now, so you can use a tracing subscriber for logging and debugging. So that's
Oh, so you're
nice.
not talking about Jiu-Jitsu, right? You're talking
No, no, I
about
talked about the one underneath that.
RSAI, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. I don't. I quickly wanted to ask you about Jiu-Jitsu anyway. What's the
Mhm.
deal with this? I'm seeing it for. I saw you tweet about it, but I'm hearing this
Yeah.
for the first time. I'm familiar with
So
like
it's
a few version control for like, but mostly for like game dev where it's like large file based, right? Where Git doesn't really do it. But what's the deal with this?
so you can co-locate with Git, which makes it super usable for basically everything. You can also have just Jiu-Jitsu repos, but I think it makes no sense. And it basically has a different workflow. You don't work branch-based. It's more focused on changes, and it adds files by default, and it's way faster. Other than that, it's quite similar to what you know. Still have diffs, and you can still rebase, and you can do everything you know. But I think it's like, for example, the usual flow is you just work on something, and then you can either describe your change and then just finish it once you're done, or you work on something. Everything is added by default. You don't have to stage stuff. Then you can just like commit it, add your message as usual, and then it's a working copy. And they are put on top of each other, but they exist outside of the spectrum of a branch first. And if you want to add them to a branch in Jiu-Jitsu, they are called bookmarks. You create a new bookmark and you set the bookmark to a commit. But you can also set bookmarks to different commits. So basically what it does for you, or at least what it does for me from like just 1 week of using it, you just work, you commit when you're done, and then it automatically creates a new one. You just do the work you want to do. You can work on different features, and then when you want to push it, you just add it to the same bookmark. And it's less of, okay, on which branch am I? What am I doing right now? Am I committing this to this branch or that branch? It's more like just work, you do like you deal with your working copies, and then you add it to your bookmarks and push that. And obviously it works with Git. You can just create tags, you can rebase, you can do everything you want. And at the beginning, it felt super useless for me. But since the last 2 days or so, I'm starting to feel a speed up, and I'm starting to really like it.
So would you say it's similar to what you have when you're doing not feature branches but dev branches, where each dev gets a branch anyway, and you just commit to it whatever you want?
No, because it's also, I think it's different. By default, it adds changes, which makes it, I think, faster. You don't have to stage stuff. You don't have to deal with that. It assumes that if you add stuff, you want to commit it.
It seems like it's being a retard at Git, which I am, but it's encouraged, right? Because I'm always, except like obviously certain cases, but I'm staging everything anyway, and then I'm just pushing it.
Yeah, and it's also like kind of, and what's also nice is going back is super easy because you have those, like you have a log of your normal log and you have an operation log. So it deals with those operations. So if you do something, you don't have to revert something and then push again or something. You can just do JJ undo, and it just undoes the last thing. Either it doesn't matter if you created a new bookmark, if you stage something you don't like, you just do undo and it undoes the last op.
The CLI looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm
So I
very
kind of like it.
skeptical of these like version control systems that aren't Git.
But it's Git
Because
There's
like
basically.
many reasons why they exist. So I mean, I don't really see it for this one, but like for large files, for example, Git is ass, right? It's like you need to have like a different system, and many of them also
But
work
it is
with
Git,
Git in
right?
the background. Yeah, they work with Git in the background, but it's like
Yeah. Like if we work on a project together and I use JJ and you use Git, you don't even see it.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
yeah, but Graphite is also similar in that like where like you can use it without
Yeah.
on top of Git and it's compatible with Git. So I guess I should yeah, I'll try some of them out. It's just like whenever with anything, whenever you're not using the default biggest hegemon, there's like a certain amount of pain or whatever. Not just in learning, because like the learning is like the visible pain, but like there might be weird compatibility issues or the quirks that exist on the offshoot or on the the new tool might be more difficult to debug, whereas the quirks that are available other that exist on the main thing are like you already know the workarounds for it.
And always go back to Git, for example, because
Ah,
earlier
but
I
yeah,
had the
yeah,
same
yeah,
thing
yeah.
and I didn't know how to rebase, and then I was just like, okay, fuck it, I just rebase it in Git, do an interactive rebase, do that in
Okay,
Git,
okay,
and then I
okay.
just
Because it
you
can
can just
use
lose it
so
together. It's disencouraged. They
yeah,
say
so
you
if
shouldn't switch currently because like JJ is working on a detached head all the time.
right,
So that's the only difference. So they're saying you shouldn't switch all the time because then you forget the commit, like you forget the detached head, but then obviously you can scroll up in the terminal and you find it again. But like the moment
yeah,
you don't know how to do something in JJ, sometimes I'm even too like, yeah, I don't want to go to the website and look it up, so I just do it in Git real quick.
gotcha. Yeah, I
I
think
don't
I should
really
try it though. I think it
see.
is me being a little skeptic.
I don't really see the reason why. So for me personally, I don't really see. Do not see a single reason why I would use this. To be honest, because I'm basically doing what
I
JJ is doing, but I just do it in Git.
I had exactly the same thoughts because I'm super like grok with my Git as well, but and it felt exactly the same way for the first 5 or 6 days. But now, if I had to describe it, it's more out of your way. That's the feeling I'm getting.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it does. I've seen one thing change in my Git usage over like since AI came up. Because the speed obviously has increased. Speed of shipping, at least for me. Um, and this means that I'm doing less commits, and I usually am like a fan of doing many commits and also having like nice messages. Not like insane, like these retarded messages where it's like super descriptive, but messages you can go back to, that you yourself remember at least, right? And with AI, I'm seeing like a huge increase in just commit size, which is bad. So maybe it would help there, right? If it's like more out of your way, I would have more of these, what do you call it, like bookmarks, right?
Bookmarks
Which
are branches, so you don't even
okay,
need them.
so
That's a nice thing. You
so
don't even have to. You don't even have to work with them that much.
okay, so how do you commit something?
You just do JJ. I often do JJCI. Then it opens your default text editor, or it opens the normal like thing you also open with Git. You can write it and just you store the file, and then it's committed as a yeah, it's written in the history basically, and then it's the parent of the most recent commit.
Okay, so you just run the thing and it just does it automatically, right? It adds a working copy and then
Yeah, and you can also like describe stuff before you commit it. So for example, if you're working on something, you can say JJ describe, and you write something there, and then you just work on it. And if you're finished, you just say JJCI, and then it already has a description, and it just commits it.
okay. I can kind of see it. So you move away from this notion of commits in a sense, right? You're working and then at some point you're bookmarking it, I guess.
I think it's more like thinking about the changes as a change and less about the changes in the context of a branch.
Yeah, but then again, it goes back to what I was saying, right? If you're working on a single branch, the entire project, if you have dev branches, right? It's branch dev slash field branch dev slash SMR, right? Isn't it kind of exactly that?
No, because like I think the idea of a branch is not that important in JJ. That's why I think it's not like I think it's just minor, really, really small differences. But I can only talk from like experience now. It feels nice after 7 days of using it. It felt shitty for the first 5, but now it feels nice. I can't even really say if I'm really like if I'm faster, because if you just I often also do just like add everything, add a commit, and that's it.
Yeah.
But even not having to stage your stuff is just one step less.
It reminds me of those people who have like a Git, like a fucking macro thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like,
and what I also like is, which is kind of being somewhat like weird, but I have like shortcuts for all my Git stuff. So I never write Git. I always do, for example, I have like Git switches GS, Git switch create as GSC, and I always use that. And like they have those shortcuts. They have those shortcuts built in. So for example, if you want to create a bookmark, you can do JJ BC -R add minus, and then you have a bookmark to the last.
Yeah, also parent. JJ is one less letter, right? That's also a huge upside.
It's one more for me.
Unironically, the fact that it's the same letter too.
I alias Git to G, so it's one more.
So why not?
Okay.
This doesn't work. Yeah, I don't know. But, I mean, honestly, I don't think I can get excited for this. I'm just gonna be completely honest.
I also wasn't excited. It's just like, and it's also not. It's not life changing, right? It just feels nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I won't use it in like a month or so, but I don't see a point in not using it.
Check back in if you stop using it, because then I for sure won't use it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about my stuff, and I might skip a few things. So first thing is me being old school salesman with Konstantin. About I don't know if we want to reveal it yet, but
we can.
We have been looking into. I guess Konstantin has actually been looking into it more from a technical perspective. But we've been looking into selling local AI in DACH, right, which is Germany, Austria, Switzerland. And I've been trying to reach out to my clients, and I felt like this because it's like super old school, right? I feel like this IT guy. I'm selling them hardware, which is funny because most of them, my initial pitch was we are going to remove the IT guy, right? And now I'm the IT guy. So I put them all on Vercel, right?
Yeah. You removed them and now you're taking over.
Yeah, now I'm the IT guy and I'm removing I guess, no, I'm not removing anything, so it's fine. yeah, so that's that. I don't know if we. I think we should maybe talk about it in the future, right? Where it's like
Yeah.
in the future when we actually have something.
Yeah.
Um, then I don't know if you watched Pluribus yet. If you haven't, you should watch it. Like because the guy is
Mhm.
a goat. So this is I don't know
Yeah.
if you're familiar with him. He's Breaking Bad man and Breaking Bad, Better
I
Call
saw it.
Saul, and
So it's good. I just saw it on the
bro,
timeline
it's
multiple times.
so fucking good, man. Like it's
Okay, I'm
actually
gonna watch it when my girlfriend's back.
he's such he's an actual he's I don't know what he's doing to be honest. And I watched an interview of him and he's like because people were asking him how long the show is going to be running for, right? How many seasons? And he was like, "Yeah, I'm planning to have like 4 seasons because he's insane, right? He plans out the entire story ahead of time, right? He's not like other writers who just they might have like a rough ending in mind, but they figured it out on the way, right? I think he's like pretty. He has all of his stuff planned out because I watched like another interview, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm planning for like 4 seasons, but honestly, I'm just gonna I'm only doing it for the main protagonist, like the actor." He's like, "Yeah, I'm doing it for her. If she wants to stop earlier or like go on for longer, we can do that." So I don't know what's the game with this, but it's like it's crazy to me. Like he's just yeah, I don't even know why he's like he hired this. Have you guys watched Better Call Saul or haven't watched it?
No, only like Breaking Bad.
You should
Have
watch.
not. Have not. Yeah.
You should watch. I also put it off like for ages, Better Call Saul, because it was like, so fucking slow. But it's unironically better than Breaking Bad. Like it really is.
Okay. I watched the first like 4 or 5 episodes, but then I kind of
It's
stopped because it was
super
like,
slow in the beginning. Like it's insanely slow and boring. Also to me, like it wasn't great. Because it feels like this super small scale drama, and I'm not the biggest fan of like crime stuff, but it feels like that. But yeah, you should go watch both, honestly. Like SMR, if you have time for 50 hours of COD, you should also fucking watch Better Call Saul. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, because you told me, like, weren't you
Nah,
asking me
bro.
about how I have time to watch, like, TV? Or was it someone else?
Yeah,
I
but
don't
it was. I think it was me. How do you? But here's the thing.
Yeah.
The way I think about video, it's more like if I work for like a couple hours
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have anything planned, like I'm not going out anywhere or whatever. I just need like an hour of like stimulation for my brain, so I just play like a COD game. I play something like I don't, for example, a role-playing game. I only play those on the weekends. But like if it's, I just need to reset for my next lock-in session. So I just play
Okay,
like an
yeah.
hour of
Yeah, I
COD and
also
then I
use
close it
gaming for
and then
that. I get what you mean.
yeah, yeah,
Watching a like you need
yeah.
to get into the correct mind space, right, to watch something because it's more so
Counter,
like
yeah,
and I told you, right, I've been doing cardio, and then while I was on the home trainer, I was watching one episode of Better Call Saul, and that's how because I watched it
yeah,
recently. I
yeah.
watched it like 2 months ago or something, and I just watched one episode every
Gotcha.
single day, and it was great, honestly. I'm not like the biggest fan of binging, to be honest. I think it's kind of retarded. Um,
Yeah.
I'd rather have like a because you always feel so bad. Also, I don't know if it's the same for you
yeah.
guys, but if I'm
And I always get head pain and like my neck gets stiff when
yeah,
like being in the same position for too long.
I think I think TV is best watched weekly. Like right now, Pluribus is coming out each week, right? Friday, and it's great. Like I just on Friday, me and my girlfriend we watch it together, and then
Is it on
we
Netflix or?
it's on Apple TV. Apple TV.
Okay.
Yeah. Um. Okay, then let's just get this over with the entertainment section.
Both addicted.
What the fucking balatro? I downloaded it. I uninstalled it from my phone ages ago because it's like too. It's insane on the phone. I'm never going to install it again because it's too addicting. Um, but I installed it on my Xbox, and I thought like I'm not gonna be playing Xbox balatro, right? That's not happening. And yesterday I was watching TV with my girlfriend, and then she went to bed, and I was like, oh, let's do one round of balatro. And I was stuck there for like 3 hours playing balatro. But this game is crazy. But yeah, have you played it or also not? You don't play these games, right?
Who, me?
No.
Roguelikes? Yeah.
No, I don't play at all
No,
because I
yeah.
get too addicted way too fast, so I don't do that
God,
shit.
this game is insane. Like, man. And then for work, so SMR and I, we both worked on Lisa a lot this week. So I think that's why most of our stuff is like, I don't know what you did in Okamo, but for me it was also mostly Lisa. And what I did was, so we haven't launched yet, right? But we already had 3. So we are on redesign number 3. Redesign, yeah, no, design number 3, redesign number 2. So we had this initially, right, which was like pink, glassy. Let me make it big actually. So this was the initial thing, which we trashed. I think in July we trashed it. Then the new task was you need to make it more boomer. So I made it more boomer, right? So we ditched the pink because it's like it's for cars, right? So it shouldn't be pink probably. It's like mostly male audience. So we made it super boomer. And now the new task was actually we don't care about the boomers because we are going to convert the boomers anyway through old school sales, right? So they won't visit the website ever. We need to make it more modern to raise, right? So I did that, and that's the new landing page, and we can check it out actually. It's not
Looks more
live.
modern.
It's not live yet, but it's actually, let me just pull it up on let me just pull it up on localhost.
The local host enjoyer.
So basically, SMR already has the like Lisa branding for its background.
Yeah.
So
We've logged
true.
in. Bro, I can't find it. Oh, there it is. All the Lisa repos are like uppercase, and this one isn't, so I couldn't find it. So that's the new landing page. There's like a animation, and it took me
How did you do the
ages.
animation? How did you do the animation?
This is motion, frame of motion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is all customizable, by the way. So all of these steps are customizable in the CMS. So we can add steps easily, right? This took ages. Like this component alone took like, I don't know, took for sure like 5 to 6 hours. And then the other page, like everything else is pretty standard on the page. Like we have the marquee.
You scroll down once.
This component is kind of interesting. So these are reusable, right? So we can have them here, for example, right? In all of these, you can also have videos. So this component should be super like reusable across the entire page, right? As we have more pages, we can build all kinds of demos. So
That's pretty sick.
should be good. And then there's like a few more animated. You know this one, right?
I wanted to.
Yeah, this is the pirated one. So
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to scroll because I was thinking about like where does he need that for, and then I was like once I saw that I was like, okay, I think I know.
I mean, I customized it pretty heavily. Like I did this garbage, which actually turned out harder than I thought it would be. Super simple, right? But then I checked the implementation and they're using like it wasn't as easy as I thought, to be honest. And then this was super easy. I just grabbed it and customized it. Yeah, but I think you guys have like more. You guys have more things, right? Yeah. You didn't even customize it, right? You took it as is.
Could I not design, man?
Yeah. But honestly, the components
didn't
look pretty
customize
good.
anything.
Like the Shetzi and
Yeah,
box,
they're
they're
great.
not bad. So
Yeah,
I get
they're great.
why you cashed out on this. We have the standards. This is honestly, I'm shipping this component in every single project of mine these days. Like this is a zero cred component, but I've repurposed it for client projects. I've repurposed it for this, and it's always getting better. So zero cred, for example, doesn't have these. On zero cred, it's if we check out zero cred. On zero cred, this is way more ass. Like you can't even hover here, right? You need to hover over this, and then it's even like it's super bad. And now like every single iteration it gets better, which I like this. Like I don't really like dog fooding too much because it's boring, right? But also these message bubbles, for example, I've used them so much. I've used them on zero cred, but they're actually coming from where is it? Bro, where is it? Did I remove that? Oh no, here it is. So these are the same components, right? This and these are the same. Obviously, that's like the spring animation is a little different, but in general, and they're coming from way back. So they're coming from this actually. I don't know if it's still up. Okay, so it's actually coming from this project. That's why I first implemented them.
I do think that the table thing was probably a super converter. Like the whole idea of like a table, us versus our competitors.
I do think the table is probably the best component, yeah, and it should probably even
Yeah.
like it should probably move up way more like higher up than this. Like I think this is probably
100%.
like
Yeah.
it should
Yeah.
maybe move at least to here, right? Obviously, these
Yeah,
need to
even
stay, right? You need the
straight up,
social
right?
proof. You need this,
Yeah.
which is the problem section, which is not filled yet, and then you need this is basically product, right?
Yeah, and then after
And
product, I
this,
think you
yeah,
slap it on there.
this is not really important, and this also not really. Like nobody's really
Yeah.
going to care. They might care, right?
Then it moves something and you can see something.
Yeah, that's also
Cool.
we already had this, and then everything else is the same. But it was like just to go back to this. If you check out the different iterations, it was like obviously this was just like a super simple landing page, but we had the glass, we had the liquid ass, and so this I didn't really fuck with it. This one I didn't really fuck with it, me personally, right? But it was boomer built. I think it did is like I think if we ship this to
I
convert
think it looked
boomers,
fine actually.
I mean, it does look outdated, right? But that was the plan. So that was my task, right? So I
Yeah.
made it outdated. I
Yeah.
made it like blocky. I added like all the guys, right? And then also like image in header. So this page might still change, right? So that Vlad actually wants to have like AI generated image here, which I think is fine. Like it's going back to the boomers. They apparently like it. But in general, I think this is probably the best iteration. So I'm kind of happy with this because also this one, right? I can't really show it off as a site I've built. Like it's too
Cool.
boomy,
Yeah.
I think.
I feel you.
Yeah, that was
Well,
my week.
let's go into the actual topic of today.
I don't think we go into the topic, to be honest. I think we skip.
I think we
Yeah.
can quickly do it,
Do we?
right?
Yeah, we can.
So what's the actual
Shouldn't we?
topic though? Should we
Go
go
with
Yeah,
about
we.
tooling and dev setup, or should we talk about this because you still wanted to talk about this thing, right?
Oh, I think we mostly talked about that. It's just that I have like 4 panes. One is mission control and the other 3 are agents.
So what do you guys think
Like-
about this? What do you guys think about this? We actually next week we cut our weeks again.
I agree.
Maybe we bring back the guests, and also we do this task setup. Desk setup, tool dev setup.
How do
you don't
you?
have to show
Who's going to be the guest?
I don't know.
Like,
We
I
can
don't.
get some dev, right? Whoever, really.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's going to be 4 people showing their desk or whatever, talking about their dev flow
Setup.
type thing.
It doesn't have to be desk, right? I just wanted to show desk because we had the discussion yesterday.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
SMI, if you remember, where it's like
Right, but yeah.
the fuck is this?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Bro, what is this? Are these?
Those are yoga blocks, dude.
Jesus.
You can't tease next week, dude.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, so true. Stop spoiling the movie. Stop
What's
spoiling
this?
Better Call Saul.
Is this a different topic or is it the same?
Those are my.
Oh.
No, those are my. I have 2 i3, but I have 2. Command +1 opens that first box.
Mhm.
Command +2 opens that second. That's all I press. Command +1,
Cultured.
Command +2.
Cultured. I have
Then I
it. I have
switch.
it the exact other way around. Option 1 is like the
Yeah.
first pane, and option 2 is the second pane.
Yeah, and I have 3
It's
screens.
so.
Yeah.
That's also culture, right?
New. Not very woke of you. Not very woke of you. But
I think it's actually very woke. I think you
yeah. So
guys are
yeah,
very woke. Bro,
we
are
could
you in
totally
an
save
actual
the
office, by the way, or is this your home?
No,
This
I have
looks like, but I guess that's German homes, right?
I have like my apartment consists of um two apartments. I have I have a door here, which is a normal like door for an apartment, because like previously there were two different people renting them separately, and I have both of them. So this one is I built, or it's actually just the office with two working places, and
Interesting. So
my
you can write it
like
off,
living
right?
room and bedroom and
Completely.
everything. Potentially, yeah.
Great. That's great. My accountant recently told me that
I
I can
just
write off my entire office as well. Like I didn't know this. I thought you would have to have your setup, Constantine, where it's like separate entryway,
No,
completely separate.
no. You can, if it's a separated room, you can also do that.
That's great. Yeah, I just need to move my sports equipment because that's not
Yeah,
exactly you know. But he was like, yeah, if there's like a tax inspection, you can just move
just
it.
put it away. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess they have video proof, which is kind of ass, but it's like right now I'm not working, right? So I always move it out
Right
when.
now it's not the office, right?
Yeah.
So when Phil starts to
Once I
deduct
go
it from
offline, I
taxes,
immediately move it out and I start working.
yeah, yeah.
So
The moment it's deducted on the tax from the tax bill, there will be no other activity than working in this room.
exactly, yeah, that's
Not
what's
even
happening.
breathing without working.
Yeah, so I think we wrap up, right? We talk
Yeah,
about dev setup. We get some.
yeah.
Do you agree with getting a guest next time? We skip the
yeah,
our
would be
week.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
I
that
think
would be
having
good. I think that
multiple
would be good to like
setups would
sort
be
of
cool.
temper. It will be good to temper our takes because
We need to.
otherwise,
Yeah, we need to. You know what
I
we
think it
should
sort
need
of
to do?
grounds us.
We need to either really only have one. I mean, I was pretty quick, right? So I think I could have
Yeah,
done mine
I
pretty
shit the
easily.
bed this week.
But you, yeah, but it was interesting though. I mean, this was today's topic. I think. Like, I think today's topic
Yeah,
was actually just planning mode. You know,
Yeah,
I think that was the topic,
it
and
touched it touched. That's why I sort of
I mean, honestly,
yeah.
we can maybe what I think we should either lock into our week and it's actually optimistic updates, or we should log into topic based. So I don't think we should feel bad about not getting to the topic, if you get me, because
yeah.
it's
And it's also kind of
I think it
nice so we
should
don't have to
be.
think about the next week, right? We don't have to think what we're talking about. We have it
yeah. So
already.
maybe we just try to not even have a topic, right? Where the topic always evolves from anything in the week, right? And if the week is super boring, we can still have a topic as like fallback. But I don't think like it's three people, right? Technically, we could even talk about the landing page for like 50 minutes, right? If like
Yeah.
we can go through it if we didn't have anything else,
Yeah, I guess that works.
right? And then we can
Using the 3 weeks
as
as
main
like an input
content,
to
right? And
generate
we
a
try
topic.
to lock into
Yeah,
1 hour,
yeah.
1.5 hours, and then
Yep.
Would you? I don't know if that should be the main content because I feel like that's not interesting to anybody except the three of us. How
I
our
think what
three
we
weeks
maybe should
went.
do that everyone, like, I think we should just limit the week. I think everyone should have one technical thing, one live thing, whatever, something that's non-technical. We do that quite fast and then we go to topic.
or maybe
Yeah, I think that's probably. I think just adding discipline on the existing, uh, whatever pattern is better. Because otherwise, I feel like just talking about our own week. If it's like an hour of talking about our own weeks, I don't think that would be
Yeah.
interesting to most people.
that's true, but
That's
I
just my
also
take,
don't
though.
think we should lock it down to one thing. I think what we should actually do is we should lock it down to 5 minutes, right? So you can talk about a bunch of things. You can do it in one sentence,
Oh,
right?
okay.
But let's check. And I
Yeah.
think this is not just about yourself, but also, for example, today, right? So I could have not said anything about the planning, and then this would have been a 10-minute thing, probably, right? If I didn't have, if
Right.
I
I mean, I
didn't
could
ask
go
it.
through it in like 2 minutes.
Exactly, yeah, that's
If
what I
we
mean.
literally
I
just,
think
yeah.
these are mostly maybe monologues, right? Could be. If we don't want to focus on a week. I honestly don't really agree with what you said that nobody would care. Because if you think about it like this, nobody's going to care about this either, right?
Yeah.
It's like I think you have. I think. Mm, I think there's plenty to care about and that's also what it says here, right? It's like we just talk about our last week. and we talk about updates, right?
Also, I think it's not like, especially like if we think about like the planning thing and also the JJ thing, it's not really the week. Also, like for you, the web page is not really your week, right? You're talking about something completely different, which is potentially even technical.
And we talked about like
Nice.
pluribus, right? This can be so.
Yeah.
If we're talking in terms of content, once we actually get to the shorts, right, which was the plan, which we're not doing, once we implement this, like all of these small topics that come up within your last week, they are content, right, which people care about. So for example, I don't know, this monologue I had about going from fancy glass to boomer to investors, right? This is a short, technically, could be, right? Or Konstantin's explainer, I don't know, Konstantin's Gemini 3 thing, right? Could be a short. So I don't know if it's actually, because if we're talking about this, for example, right, for 1 hour, are people going to care more about this than our week? I don't know, because we're not experts, right? Technically.
Ah, okay, that's interesting. Like if the topic or whatever the short is generated from our week, it's something that comes from experience, so the content will be better. Whereas if it's just like a topic like, CLIs versus chat. I mean, I guess we do use chat apps and CLIs, so we would have experience. But whatever, if it's like some other topic like that, then it would be much more speculative, which
Yeah,
would
and we'll
make the
run out
thing less
of
interesting.
topics, right? We'll run out of topics, and then we'll be back to like, okay, you guys are going to be talking about like dev tools, and then I'm like, yeah, I don't really care about dev tools at all. Like, I don't give
Yeah.
two shits about it, right? And then you don't give a shit about design, so what are we doing, right? I think, for
Yeah.
example, the
Yeah.
podcast I'm planning with Alex, where it's design podcast, we are going to have one topic, which, for example, this week it's going to be wireframes, right? So we can talk about wireframes, and we are still going to talk about us
Yeah.
and how we do wireframes, but both of us have one uh, interest. So I think honestly, optimistic updates for me, we can totally try this 5 minute monologue and then go into a topic. For me, I think we should attempt to build a personal brand to a point where people care about the week, and then until they care about it, because right now we don't have a personal brand, nobody of us has. Until they care about it, um, we are just going to repurpose it as shorts and make it seem like the podcast is super
Oh.
um like, even if we talk about, like, even if we only talk about Gemini for 2 minutes, right, we can create this short which makes it seem like the entire podcast was about Gemini, right? Because
Yeah, yeah, I
the
get
people
you.
only see this one
It's
short.
like a lead magnet.
Exactly, that's how I see
Yeah.
this podcast, by the way. Like, I
Mm.
think we should just internally we
That's
should
interesting.
treat
That's
it
brilliant.
internally we should treat it as just hopping on a call, because we don't really have any viewers, right? So we should just treat it as, okay,
Yeah.
we talk each week, it's just like a laid back call. Then we should repurpose it as shorts, and I think having weekly stuff that's somewhat technical but also just like fun updates is fine. Also, it increases our potential listenership, right? Like, if 25% of the um, talk is just like random card and balatro, and I mean, you didn't have anything non-technical, but you had some things in the past, right? Constantine
Bro's
Webster.
on monk mode.
Yeah.
Cal is on monk mode. He's not playing COD. He's not
He's not
downloading
playing
Battlefield
card for
6.
50 weeks. Yeah. No balatro, no
Whoa,
cards.
listen, let's not. I don't like how we throw around numbers like that, okay? But yeah.
Yeah. No,
But
but
yeah, I get you. I think that is, I never thought of it like that. Like the idea of like the topics are like candy where we get them interested in our lives and now we have a personal brand, something along those lines. I
Actually,
think that's pretty
in this case,
interesting.
it would be like crack, but yeah.
yeah, because it's
Yeah.
yeah, because it's like we're also going to have facecam, right? So it's a personal thing anyway. Otherwise, we could cut the facecam,
Yeah.
just have a normal podcast, but then we would need to lock in on the topic, right? I couldn't just be like, "Oh, JJ, what's that?" Right? I think we would need to go in
Yeah.
informed and actually have like a
Also, it's
nice
kind of
discussion.
I kind of like it to have like listen about or hear about different things. For example, I still think about the voice or audio thing. you mentioned like 2 weeks ago, because it's super interesting to me. I
Yeah.
put it on my like future projects list. I added some links and some blog articles I want to go through. So I think it's also a nice chance for us to share and learn other stuff. And I think that's something that's enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, also this
Also.
discussion, right? Don't forget this. Like, it always happens that interesting discussions emerge from the week, right? Like this,
Mhm.
would this have been a topic? No, right? We would never have made this a topic, I don't think. But this just emerged from the weekly discussion. So if we turn weekly discussion into this kind of monologue, for one, it feels super detached, right? So I think we would even probably cut it out from the actual recording, is what I would do, because it's like monologuing, like 3 people monologuing for 5 minutes, it's kind of boring, right? Maybe not actually.
Yeah, I get you.
I think it's two different options, like two different ways, right? It can be either we need to find a good topic each week. We cut
So I
the
think it's
week.
kind of fine how we're doing it currently. Like if we go through the week quickly and then we come to the topic. If we don't go through the week quickly, we
That's
just
also true.
we don't
Maybe we
go
are
through it.
overthinking.
Yeah,
Maybe we are
yeah,
Yeah, I think
overthinking,
it's
and
like
we
yeah, yeah.
just keep
stay
the current
retarded.
flow of going through week, however long it takes. And
Yeah.
then if there's no time left over, we just push the last week's topic to next week. And if
Yeah,
we
exactly.
find a better topic, we can just discard the topic.
Exactly.
The
We're
other
not
topic.
attached to the topic.
Yeah.
I think our only thing we should do or could do is like that we lock it to like 120 or 115 or something like that. So with the wind down, we're like 90 minutes, something like that. And we all watch the clock. And if we exactly like today, like if we don't have enough time for the weekly topic, it's the topic of next week, or we just completely ditch it. Like
I mean,
it's not that we have to
honestly,
pay
it
some
would have also been
fee.
simple to just cut off your week, for example, right? Because I did realize that it's taking too long. So I could have just, instead of asking you to go through each one, I can
Yeah,
just
we
come
could
to
just
another
stop.
one, right? And then,
Yep.
I mean, if anyone feels bad that one of their things didn't get mentioned, you can just tell me, right? And I'm gonna go back, and it's like, oh, I wanted to say one more thing about this, and then we just go back quickly and just get it done. But I think I can just kind of guide the conversation, maybe watch the clock, and then
But I think it's kind of like the way we're doing it. I think it's kind of interesting, and I like it because it's more like rambly. I think
yeah,
that's more
yeah.
genuine. It's more genuine. It's
Also,
literally just a discussion or like
yeah, because
conversation
there's
we're having.
also a problem, right? If we force the topic, it's still interesting, like talking to you, but it turns into much more
It
effort
feels
because
like a
we need to
chore, right?
research first, and then
Yep.
if you don't do your
Yeah.
homework, it's super bad, right? So I think this is just low effort. We continue it indefinitely, and maybe sometime in the future it's going to stick with people, right? That's my plan. And then it's good if it's more personal, right? Because if it's only technical, people only care about the content and not about you, right?
And also, I think like none of us is super. I think we're more like all of us are more like generalist in what
Yeah.
we're doing.
Yeah.
So none of us is like I am just thinking of Mazar, yeah, right? He comes on and he's like super knowledgeable in one field. He could totally do a podcast about Gaussian splats. But like I personally wouldn't say I have any like one field where I can talk about for like the next 3 years.
I could also
Without,
not
like,
talk about design I can only talk about it because I'm going to have Alex, right? Who's an actual designer. So I can chime in as this midwit designer, right? Or like design engineer guy who just is not really a designer by trade, right? So, and I think for us, like our constellation, I don't know if it particularly works well together when we talk about topics, because we would need to find like some topic that connects all of our interests, right? Which is going to be hard, I think. It could be something like the app, for example, right? Like Shape ID app. We could talk about this, obviously. We could maybe always talk about one project idea. This would maybe be something I could see myself, right? And everybody brings something to the table, like.
but that's also something we could do with the current format, right? So if there's some motion on one project, for example, with SMR's chat app, and that's topic of the week because he worked on it, for example, we can just go into that.
Exactly what's happening right now, right? So we don't even need to force that. And if nothing's happening in a week, that's also fine, right? Maybe you're just working on an NDA project, but then maybe this week your session is shorter and we can just focus on somebody else's. It's fine.
Yep.
So I think we should just keep it up like we do, and then I don't know, if
Yeah.
stuff changes, we can always reassess, right?
Sure.
But I think we're
Yeah.
over optimizing because we don't really have any listeners anyway. So I think we
True.
just keep going.
Pretty awesome. This is the 10th episode, right?
It's 9th.
9th? Is it the 9th or the 10th?
Yeah.
Let's go. All right, we can't break this.
That's a crazy stat. I had
it
it when I had a podcast with a friend like a few years ago on Spotify. I think you're in top 1% if you make it past 20 episodes.
Top 20.
Oh, okay.
Top 2% of what?
Top
Episodes?
top 1%.
Top 1%.
Oh, top 1%.
Like 99% of podcasts stopped
Don't
before the
make it.
20th
Yeah,
episode.
yeah. Okay, we gotta make it to
Yeah.
20. And I think we just keep it up because it's literally just a
Yeah.
call for us, right? I mean, obviously we have the
Exactly.
cams on.
Yeah,
who
yeah.
cares? And
Yeah.
I think if we just treat it as a call, we don't care about viewer numbers or anything. I don't see any reason to be stopping, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, right? We would maybe have to catch up anyway, right? We would have some other call.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I think we wrap it. I'm gonna stop the stream.
Yeah.